Greetings and welcome back to the channel. Today you find me at home and I thought I'd do a little collection video for you, and as you can tell from the thumbnail, this is all my folders. Right, let's get to it straight away. Right, first up is a Reeve small Sebenza. Now this is still in the box, never used it. I bought it last year at the Wilderness Gathering because it's getting increasingly more difficult to get folders, Reeve folders I should say, here in the UK. And this is a small Sebenza, plain Insigno. Nice knife. I did once have a large Sebenza Insigno, but I sold it and I was really sorry that I did. I shouldn't have. So that's number one, Draw Queen. I am going to give a bit of history to every knife, not just show them, okay? So, you know, you may be a bit bored, I don't know. Next up, another relatively recent purchase. A Spyderco Titanium UK PK. Now, for quite a while I've been carrying Malandy by Reeve as my EDC. But I don't know why, I just decided to buy one of these. I have had two of these in the past, for whatever reason I've sold them, and I bought this one second hand, but it's like new, it's never even been sharpened, and I've been carrying that as my EDC for the last couple of months. UK legal. Oh, another Reeve, and this is one I regularly use. This is a large plain Sebenza. Had this for a good few years. Decided to put a lanyard on it, survival cord again. And I do clip this. I put this around my belt because I really don't want to lose this, because these aren't cheap. Even a plain one isn't cheap. And I got a little skull bead, because if you know me, you know I like heavy metal, I like skulls and shit. So yeah, a firm favourite folder of mine. These cut onions, great. Oh, another Spyderco. Paramilitary. I think it's the 2. And this one has got orange G10 scales, which you don't see very often. And this one was my main folder and cooking knife for quite a few years. Haven't used it for a while. But yeah, a really good knife. Check the steel. S30V, good stuff. The only thing I find odd about this is where the lock is, the release. It's quite a strange place. I don't know the reasoning, haven't got a clue. But yeah, good knife. Now an oldie. Benchmade Pin Nickel. Now sit back and relax, because I'm going to tell you a story about this. I always wanted a Sebenza, and I seen these advertised with Heine Haynes. Oh, if you don't know who Heine Haynes are, they're probably Britain's biggest knife and accessories company. They're big. Well, when I bought this, the company was in its infancy, and the guy, Bruce, the owner, was trading from home, and I was working in the city where he lived, and I called in his house. I just expected to see a shop, but it was a domestic residence. And we had a good chat on the doorstep, and he said, "What are you after?" And I said, "I'd really like a Benchmade Pin Nickel. I've got one." So I bought it off him that day. That's 20 odd years ago. Now I did happen to sell this knife once. I don't know why I did, because this was a knife I used as a daily work knife for years, and that blade has cut some carpets. It's also cut a lot of cardboard, and it's been excellent. I didn't actually want a serrated blade to begin with, but that's all he had, and then I'm glad, because the amount of cardboard I've cut with it is nobody's business. Well, I did sell it to a guy, and about 6 months later he sent me a message saying, "I need some money, do you want to buy that knife back?" Bought it back like a shot. and that's never going anywhere again. Excellent knife. It's not as refined as a Sebenza. It's not as rounded, it's not as comfortable, but it's been a workhorse. Another Chris Reeve. Well, actually two, because they're wrapped up in a cloth. Right, this is a Malandy. Quick story about this Malandy. If you're a regular viewer, you may know that a friend of mine, Tony, passed away about 1.5 years ago, and I'm pleased to say I managed to get this out of his collection, and this was his Malandy. So yes, this is the one I was EDCing for quite a while, well, a couple of months or something. But yeah, lovely little knife, beautiful. The only thing I do find with it, it's a little difficult to get out one-handed because it's small, whereas the Titanium UK PK comes out real easy. Yes, but a beautiful little knife with sentimental value. Next up is a small plain Sebenza. I've used this quite a few times. It's in pretty good condition, but it's been living in the box for quite a while now. Yes, not a lot I can say about them. Beautifully made. I just love Chris Reeve knives. Oh, one with a tail. A Kush Assisted. Never used it. No, I don't think I've ever used it. And I bought this in Canada when I went out to Mors Kohansky's for the winter skills course. We went to Edmonton Mall at the end of the trip, because you've got to go to Edmonton Mall because it's huge, and there was an army surplus store there, and they were selling Kershaws, and I saw this and I thought, oh, that's nice, I like a bit of assisted action. So yes, Kershaw Ken Onion design, don't know what model it is, haven't got a clue. S60V. Yeah, you can tell by the pocket clip I've never worn it, and you can tell by the blade I've never used it. I think the box must be in the loft. The only thing I do find with this, it's a bit of a pig to close. Comes out nice, bit fiddly to get back in. Oh, here's something interesting. Now, I don't go for daggers and killing knives, not interested, but this is one I have, and this is a cold steel tile light. Quick story, I went up to Heine Haynes' sales room. This is a good few years ago now. It was the first sales room they had, because I wanted to go up to buy a Falcon Thor, and while I was buying the Thor, there was one of these on the table, and I had a look at it and I really liked it, and I said to the wife, oh, I like that, but I don't buy that sort of knife. Following birthday, she bought it for me. It actually makes a really nice feather stick. You won't believe it, but it does. Very fine curls. So yes, another one. That's all I've ever done, is make a few shavings with it. Not really meant for it, but sentimental value. Wife bought it for me, and really nice surprise. Benchmade Griptilian. I bought this in Sportsman's Warehouse in Colorado. I can't remember where exact. Grand Junction, Colorado, when I went on a trip with Bison Bushcraft. 2004, I believe. Yes, 2004 I bought that, and I used that quite a bit, but then the snob in me came out and I didn't particularly want a plastic handle, so it was resigned to the collection. So yes, good knife, but I haven't used it for a long time. I believe it's 440C. Yeah, cheap stuff. Next up, an oldie. Right, this is an opener. This is another one that was used for years and years in work. I used this before I bought the Benchmade, the Pin Nickel. As you can see, that is very well used. And the first time I was aware of openers was when I bought Reeve's first book, The Survival Handbook, A Practical Guide to Woodcraft and Woodlaw. And when I bought that book, there was a picture, a photograph of an opinel in it, and I never knew about opinels until that day, because you just didn't sell them around here. I can't remember where I picked it up, but that was heavily used. Well, you can see it's a bit of a state, and you can see my fetish with cords on folders. Don't like cords on fixed blades, but I do like them on a folder because you've got to pull them out your pocket. Yes, an extremely old one. Yes, I think I used this in a video to light chalk cloth with, because the back of the blade is a little bit mangled. But yes, an old friend. Now another oldie. A Buck Ranger. Oh, it's gone green. Have to clean that up. I bought this in 1998 somewhere in America, and I can't remember where I bought it, unfortunately. Yes, a true classic. Seen a lot of use, but then when the one-handed openers came out, I think for a while I had a little clip on it, but it was a bit too tight. But yeah, when the one-handeds came out and the Leatherman tools, it ended up in the box. A Gerber Stockman. I bought this was old stock. I bought this when my wife and I were in Las Vegas, and I visited a shop called Bond's House of Cutlery. Yeah, it was a great shop, and the people working in there were fantastic. So if by some amazing coincidence one of you are watching, I bought that. I was going to buy a Buck Stockman, and the salesman said to me, "Why are you buying a Buck?" He said, "The steel on these Gerber ones is better." Well, I fancy the look on the Buck a lot more, but I thought, oh well, I'll buy it, and it was half the price, and it was old stock. So an old Gerber Stockman. I think I carried it for about 2 weeks. Yes, but it's in the collection, and it's got a bit of history to it. Three-bladed Stockman. I also bought my stag handle Trailmaster Bowie and my large DMT stones in that same shop. So they did okay out of me. But that was back in the days where you get $2 to the pound, which you certainly don't know. Another Stockman, and this is a Schrade Stockman. Uncle Henry. And I bought this second hand off a forum or something because I really fancied it. It was just one of them for about £30. I thought, I'm going to have that. And it's got nickel silver on it, an antler handle, and it's just a really nice, attractive little Stockman. Yes. I did buy a Buck Stockman as well at some point, but I sold that to my pal Russ because he really liked it, so I sold it to him. Right, DPX Test Knife. I don't know what to say about this. This is the second one I've had. The first one I had I sold or swapped for something, and I really felt like buying another one. And I've had every intention of doing a video on this, but I never got around to it. It's a solid knife, and it's got a lock. The lock locks. So it just doesn't go anywhere. That little thing there is a pocket clip, so you can pull it out of your pocket and it opens up, same as the titanium cold steel. The only thing is, if you did it regularly, you would wreck your jeans. Yeah, solid knife. I did grind the spine down, so it takes a ferro rod. Yeah, one day I'm looking for something to do, I'll do that. And now I can't unlock it. There we go. Now one with some super sentimental value. This was my dad's little folder. It's just a cheap little Whitby folder, which I've had since I'm about 13 or 14. I bought it off a friend of mine. No, I didn't buy it off a friend of mine. I sold it to my friend and then bought it back and gave it to my dad as a gift. And he carried it for quite a while. Yes, quite a lot of sentimental value with that. It's not particularly good, but sentiment is there. Now another one of my dad's knives. He really liked this knife. It's a navy knife. Rogers, Sheffield, England. I'll never use it, mine. But it has sentimental value. And I think they're worth about £50 now as well. Because that one's in not bad condition, considering it's probably about 8 years old. We're coming to the end. Another opener, that's a number 7. And my friend Toby Hobby sent me that. Thank you, Toby. Not a lot you could say about them, really. Does what it says on the tin.